Hooray for Hollywood, that screwy ballyhooey Hollywood. It's south of Sherman Oaks and west of Little Armenia, Hollywood.
Now, that's one song that you might want to sing at Hollywood's biggest
Oops,
night.
sorry.
But, Brett, there's another song that I'd like to sing to start off our Oscar recap
Please.
episode.
It was Hollywood's big night last night, the Oscars.
My song goes a little something like this.
Hit him with it.
Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police, the fashion police. Welcome to our first segment, Fashion Police Oscar edition.
Wow, I just found myself in a segment in the cold open, nonetheless. Oh my God! Please take it away.
Good morning,
Fashion
Carson.
Cop.
Good morning, Margot. Can we please have our first victim of the police today?
Oh my. Okay, sorry. Hold on. Okay, so there's. We did. We're doing a segment called Fashion Police.
Yep. Oscar edition.
Okay, Oscar edition. And you're the fashion cop.
We're the police.
Okay.
We are the fashion police, and now I want to see one of our subjects, please.
Okay,
Carson,
all right, here we go.
Show me a look,
Here we go. Let's
please.
see a look. Oh,
Boom.
Selena.
Now we're starting off here
Selena.
We're starting off here on purpose, folks, because I wanted to start with some classic Hollywood glam. Here we have Selena Gomez wearing Ralph Lauren. We have a champagne-colored crystal gown featuring an off-the-shoulder neckline with ombre embellishments. Brett, did you know that there's over 1,600 hand-applied crystals in this design, making it one of the most intricate designs of the night? Selena,
I didn't know that, but I believe it.
Selena looks beautiful. As always, but particularly beautiful this evening as she embodies, the Gene Kelly legacy of Oscar class. I wanted to start here because here we have a
The
timeless,
Gene Kelly.
not Gene, what's her name?
Grace Kelly. Get it together, fashion cop.
Okay.
That's just the first look.
So I just wanted to say to everybody coming down my Oscar red carpet tonight,
Yes.
the cops will be letting
All
folks
right,
that look like this go.
we got to drop
can
the
go.
cop analogy.
You can go, Selena. Thank you for showing us the way it's done.
All right.
Who's next?
I love-
Okay, now Brett, here we have Coleman
Coleman.
Dolingo in a Valentino number. We have a sharp red and black
I
tailored
like this.
suit,
I like
asymmetrical lapel. We have a waist wrapped belt. Brett, what's your take here on Coleman?
Thank you for asking. I love this look. It is reminding me of like the way they used to dress the devil in Damn Yankees, or like when the devil would show up and he I don't know any of the old movies where the devil would be a character and he'd be a classy guy trying to seduce you to the temptations of the world. This is what this look is giving me, and I love it. I love Coleman in red. I love the sash belt is very nice. And he's not wearing the glasses, but I can tell they are a perfect accessory for
Yes,
this
they are.
suit.
They have that red tint to those glasses. They look wonderful. I love this Japanese-inspired tailoring. And Coleman is doing something that many men struggled with this year, looking good
Yes.
and also looking fashionable. I think that some men played it safe this year. I think that's always fine. I think men's fashion ultimately is boring and not really worth mentioning. But tonight we will be looking at you men. But Coleman, you are my man of the year, looking great in your Valentino. Next. Okay, now here we have a newcomer. We have Omar Apollo here, the singer-songwriter.
Musician, right? Mostly known as a
Yes, that's right.
musician.
And he's wearing some Willie Chavaria. I want to bring up the look because there's some accessories here that I found to be awesome. And then I learned is coming along. He's wearing this veil, Brett.
I love a
Veil on men's fashion. It's on the rise.
I like it.
Pharrell had a Chanel moment recently. Pattinson had a Dior look recently. But really, Omar here is bringing it to the Oscars. It's giving gender fluid realness.
I love
And
it.
it's also just giving style for days. The question I have for you, Brett, what do you think of this scarf as a tie thing going on here? Where are you on that?
I like it in this case because it is offsetting like the slimness of the jacket, and then but then it's also telegraphing the sort of the bagginess of the trousers. So it's giving a nice it communicates the trajectory of the suit really well and matches the trajectory really well as it's going down. I love the veil too because I think veil is a classic thing where it's it is it's sort of like overtly giving demureness, but then secretly it's saying, I'm a fucking bad boy under here. You don't even want to know what I get up to under this veil.
Guess what I'm mourning? Like, I don't want to know.
Yeah. I'm mourning I'm mourning like I'm mourning my lover's wife's death. You know, it's that kind of a thing. It's like I'm mourning, but for bad reasons.
Okay,
baby.
cool. We love that bad mourner.
Yeah.
Thank you, Apollo. Next, Omar Apollo. Next, please. Who is our next?
Oh,
here we have Ariana.
Okay.
Now look at this. Now this is a divisive outfit, Brett. Some people are loving this Giambattista Valli Couture, and some people are not into it. We have a pastel pinked with a very sculptural ball gown there, with a structured corset, bow dice, and a full glittering tulle skirt.
All right, I'm not going to lie, Joe. Not only do I like this look, this is the best Ariana's ever looked, like in a formal setting. In a formal setting, yeah. And also in her current incarnation, like any pop star, Ariana Grande has gone through a lot of different looks. And right now, like since Wicked, she's been in this sort of like Wicked mode, right? She's not doing sort of like, you know, she was doing like streetwear pop star for a while. Now she has been in like ball gown princess mode for a while around Wicked.
Yeah.
This is the best she's looked in this current incarnation of Ariana Grande. I
love that.
a lot.
You know, Margot Robbie killed it when she was like, "Oh, it's the Barbie season. I'll do Barbie looks every single week. Here's my cool Barbie thing." You know, not to be outdone, I think Ariana and Cynthia did a great job bringing Wicked to the red carpet. So Ariana, I love the swing. It's fairy tale, Glinda magic, Wicked stuff, very musical theater
The
kids.
shapes are shaping, though. The
Well,
shapes
do you
are
know
really
that's exactly
shaping
right?
out
The shapes are
nicely.
the dress required over 600 hours of hand sewing and custom boning for that exaggerated bow dice, Brett. Can we have our next look, please?
I want to suggest a change to the Oscars really quick.
Okay.
They should give an award out for best dressed of the evening.
I love it.
And then the designers should go up and collect
Oh
the
my
awards.
God!
Isn't that a good idea?
The best idea.
Isn't that a good idea?
Yes.
And also, you know who invented like the whole red carpet fashion aspect of the Oscars? Famously, Alan Carr, who was blacklisted from the Oscars because everyone hated his 1989 Oscars, but he invented the red carpet as a fashion show, and he invented saying "and the Oscar goes to,"
and we love him for it. And we love him for it.
The key phrase.
Next. Okay. Now we have my little Laffy Taffy here. We have Timmy. The question is he's a Laffy Taffy, but is he a snack? He's wearing a yellow look here from Givenchy. It's a butter yellow leather suit with a monochrome shirt paired with sharp black boots. Brett, love it or hate it?
I do not like it, and here's why. My number one pet peeve in men's fashion is when these boys don't tailor their fucking pants, okay? Look how much extra fabric we have at the bottom of those pants, okay? When I see like a finely tailored, and I'm not saying you have to cuff, you don't have to cuff, but when I see the pants end exactly at the right point, right on top of the shoe, a little extra, just a little bit of excess fabric, but not too much, I go nuts. When I see the fabric bunching up like that, I lose my shit. I don't like this look.
I got to channel my inner Joan here. Honey, if I wanted to see lumps and bumps, I'd go to a mattress store. All right? Okay, next. God, Fashion Police is the best. Here we have Mikey. Here's the thing.
Okay.
She's wearing Dior.
Let's just say
Black
we love
velvet,
Mikey.
strapless
Up top, we want to
top,
be clear we love Mikey.
Baby pink satin skirt tied with a delicate bow. Brett, archival fashion is back, and here we have something, it's really giving 1950s Dior, of course, breakfast at Tiffany's vibes. Brett, what do you think of Mikey's look here?
I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not a complete fail, but I'm just not feeling this. I also feel like Mikey doesn't quite know how to wear it, and that could be something going on like in the architecture of the dress. She seems a little uncomfortable in this dress. She seemed a little uncomfortable in it all night. And so I'm not going to blame that on her, though. I think that might have something to do with the way the dress is fitted. It's not a fail. I'll give this. It's right in the middle for me. It's right in the middle. If we used our star ratings, I would say this is 2.5. This is all right. It's not good or bad.
This is kind of one that has to sit with you kind of overnight, because I woke up this morning and I really remembered this look. I think immediately I kind of want to criticize it for like the little girlness of that bow and of that color.
It's a little
but if you look at like Monica Barbaro and her, they're both doing this vintage couture thing. It's a little girly, but ultimately I think Mikey pulls it off. She's very like ethereal, weird spirit, musy lady, and I think that it just settled overnight, and I kind of am into it now. I don't know why though. I couldn't tell you why.
But it's also I'm getting mixed messages because if you just look at the top, I'm getting like goth almost. I'm getting like the way like Winona used to show up at the Oscars. Like I'm getting like Winona Ryder goth, and then from the bottom down, and that must be it's giving like Marilyn Monroe and 7-Year Itch, or Gentlemen Prefer Blondes more like it. So I don't know. It's a dress that's giving me mixed messages, and I like contrast in fashion, but this just seems like mixed messaging more than a strategic contrast.
And let's end on a down note. Who's our last fashionista here?
Oh, Zoe.
Zoe Saldana in Saint Laurent. You know what we're talking about, the burgundy tiered ball gown with sheer illusion bow ties covered with crystal mesh and a pair of sheer opera gloves. Brett, I think this is my worst look of the night.
It's not happening.
If 50s couture is question mark for us, I mean, this 80s inspired garbage, I don't know. It's really not our cup of tea. What do you think here, Brett?
I don't like it. I don't mind the deep red of the like actual dress, but then like the top is so weird and the gloves are not
gloves
right.
are bad. We got the Jessica Rabbit gloves, and we have this dragon necklace. It looks like a napkin ring at my weird cousin's D&D wedding.
I like the necklace in isolation.
Like
I just don't. It's just not paired. This looks like 3 different ideas, maybe 4 different ideas, none of which are really working. Maybe this is like Zoe's like sort of passive attack on Amelia Perez. She's so kind of exhausted with all the Amelia Perez drama. She's like, I'm the one who's gonna win tonight, and I'm gonna show up in the worst dress of the night as though taking a little swing at Netflix maybe.
Zoe, I've seen better coordination at a child's finger painting party. That was fashion police.
Get this guy on the red carpet.
That was fashion police.
Get this guy on the red carpet next year.
Play that fanfare, please.
Mario's not ready because you should not use the you start the show.
Sorry. Well, whoop whoop.
There it is.
Welcome to Movies.
Come on.
The weekly show where we break down the hottest movie news, review the latest releases, shout out forgotten classics, and prophesy the future of Hollywood. I'm Joe Cilio, a.k.a. the Philly Movie Freak, and I'm joined by my co-host Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dog.
Go Flow! We're coming to you live from the San Fernando Valley, baby, and this week on Movies, baby, it was Hollywood's biggest night last night, the Oscars, and we've got all the big headlines, all the snubs and surprises that everyone's talking about today. We'll be going through the actual awards. We'll be going through the show itself. How did Conan do? We're going to give you all the hot takes that your little growing body needs to get through the week. Plus, we've got reviews of Last Breath, and I finally saw one of them days, and I can't wait to talk about that as well. So this is going to be a fun-ass show. And in the second half of the show, baby, for Patreon subscribers only, we are doing one of our favorite things, our fantasy movie draft, baby, for 2025. You know how we do. Every year, Joe and I draft a team of movies that are coming out this year. We're going to pick the 5 that we think we will like the best, right? So we're basing this on our tastes, our reviews, the way we watch movies. We're each going to draft 5 movies plus an alternate that we think that we will like the best. And then as we watch those movies throughout the year, we rate them. And then whoever has the highest score, Joe won last year, I'm looking for a comeback this year, they win. So that'll be in the second half of the show for Patreon subscribers only. Do not miss that. It's also a fun way of like getting excited about all the great movies that are going to be coming out.
A lot of really good
There's
ones.
There's a lot. My short list, I can only pick 6. My short list has like 15 to 20, possibilities, and I'd be happy, honestly, with any of them. Now, we normally start off with box office, but we're going to table that because, Oscars weekend's not a big box office weekend. Let's kick it off with movie news, baby, because we got a lot to talk about with this stinking Oscars. I predicted last night that no film would win more than 4 awards. I thought it was going to be a night of parody, a lot of movies winning awards. Well, I was wrong, and I'm glad I was, because Anora took home 5, baby. And that brings me to winners and losers. Joe, you're going to talk about the big winner of the night. I'm going to talk about the big loser of the night. But let's kick it off with the big winner, and you know who it is. It's Anora, baby.
Yep. The big winner was Anora taking home 5 Academy Awards, including all the ones that matter: Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Editing, and Best...
Did you say director?
Director. Thank you.
Yes.
And Best Director.
Sean Baker, first person ever to win 4 Academy Awards for the same movie. Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Right.
Sorry, did I steal your I'm sorry. Stole your thing. Sorry.
I know. Okay, so what do you think?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it wasn't Nora, and Sean Baker was the first time to win 4 awards. It was It was a humongous win for American independent cinema as well. This movie was made for $6 million. It was shot on film. It was shot in New York. And the entire campaign season, Sean Baker had a steady stream of championing things that he really believes in: theatrical distribution, physical media, and the art and craft of filmmaking. So that is very heartwarming and exciting that the Academy was able to see that Anora was a great embodiment of what a lot of our best films these days have going on, and it's a spirit that the Oscars need to keep alive. And as much as I want The Dark Knight to get nominated for Best Picture, and as much as I'm happy that Wicked was part of the events last night, and I loved seeing Wicked there, and I'm glad Dune 2 got Best Picture, and I hope that helps the ratings, at the end of the day, I am happier when independent cinema reigns supreme.
Hell yeah.
$6 million for this Best Picture? $6 million? And then let's talk about Neon. They came in, they distributed this, they ran this campaign perfectly from the jump, and throughout the whole entire course of the campaign, they stayed true to their mission statements, and they just let their competitors fall. When Amelia Perez fell away, as a complete unknown came and went, Neon stayed the course. They've been here before. They probably will be here again. They've won 5 Palme d'Ors in a row, and they've won a couple Best Pictures now along the way. They got Mikey her Best Actress award in a very competitive race that we're going to talk about later. So I think the winners of the night is Anora, Sean Baker, Neon, and the whole entire team over there. An incredible drubbing on their part. Not a night of parody at all, Brett.
No, I was shocked, pleasantly shocked by how much Anora won the night. And I gotta say, you're being very modest, but my guy over here has been predicting this for months now. Okay, this is the guy that predicted Anora was going to win Palme d'Or, and then it won Palme d'Or. This was the guy back when Brutalist and Amelia Perez were still the front runners that said, you know what, I think Nora's going to sneak in and win this thing. And he didn't say it could or there's a couple. He said Nora's going to win this thing. So Sean Baker, this man right here, the Philly movie freak, is your fairy godmother. He's your good luck charm. Wow. And he's a good luck charm to all of independent cinema because he's been pounding this Nora drum all freaking year. Yeah. And I am so happy for our guy, Sean Baker. We love this guy. We've been on this train since Tangerine. I know it's not his first movie, but we've been on the train early. We've seen every one of his movies. We freaking love him, and it's so awesome to see him.
It's incredible, actually.
Rise to this level. It's great.
Just like 2 years ago, we were like, oh, like all the weird guys, the cool guys, the Harmony Korine's and the Sean Bakers and such. Yep. They never get their fucking flowers. And now Sean Baker is going to be one of the top 10 directors.
I cannot wait to see what happens next because this is true. You're getting into like GOAT conversation territory, my dude. You just did nothing no one's ever done at the Oscars before. You got Tarantino handing you the Best Director award, right? Happily so. A little bit of a passing of the torch, and we know Tarantino's got some great films left in him, but a sort of ceremonial passing of the torch. Dude, Sean Baker is now the guy. He is now in a position to become the major independent filmmaker of his generation,
of America.
Thank you.
Because Bong Joon-ho and Iñárritu and Guillermo del Toro, these people have they got fucking shit to say. But when it comes to American directors, Sean seems to be like he's 30 years old on the Lakers in the NBA terms now. You know what I mean? It's like he's at the peak of his career. He just got traded to the Yankees, and he's batting fourth. Like that's it. He's got a real chance here to be an all-timer.
And I think he's going to do it because this is a guy. Everything about him last night said, "I'm a guy who sticks to his guns. I'm a guy who is overjoyed to be at the Oscars winning all the awards, but will not be defined by this kind of ceremony. I am about the movies, baby. I am about cinema." You know what he's doing? This week, right after the Oscars, I saw his interview with them. He's flying down to Florida today, I think, to shoot some interviews with all the kids who were in the Florida Project because they're now 18 years old. So he's doing like a reunion with all the Florida Project kids for like a special Blu-ray edition of Florida Project that's coming out, I believe, or like a behind-the-scenes documentary or something that's coming out. This guy is in it for the right reasons. He's about the movies. He's about cinema. He just freaking loves movies. And if anything, you could tell him, like, I got this feeling from him last night that he's already he's already like gearing up for the. You just got this energy from him that he just like now he's like, I'm gonna take all of this capital and then go make my fucking another masterpiece for y'all.
And that is what he's going to do. Except this time he's going to get, I hope, or I hope if he wants it, he gets a little bit more budget. He gets some more names in his movies. It'll be exciting to see what Sean Baker chooses to do with the juice of the Oscar juice, because he is our on the ground auteur. You know, he is. Of the people, for the people, by the people, and now every studio is going to be wanting, probably, for him to come in and what big ideas were you not allowed to do or didn't have the right resources for? Very much, again, like a Bong. You win for Parasite, unbelievable. And then now your Mickey 17's coming out, which was a huge budget with Robert Pattinson. Going to see it
Warner
in
Brothers
IMAX,
gave him a lot of money
English
for that. Over $100
language
million.
picture.
Yeah.
It's like I wonder. That's what Bong wanted to do with the juice. I wonder what Sean's going to do. Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see. I'm also very excited to see what city he chooses next, because as you know, he's gone from.
Well, I hope it's not where we live, because usually he picks just something where you don't 100 want to be.
Well, he's done in Tangerine. That was close to where I used to live.
Dude, that's
live
exactly
originally in
where
LA.
we live.
It was right a couple blocks away from where I used to live.
That's the best
it was where was that? It was sort of like Thai Town, sort of. Yeah, it was like
South
right
LA.
there. Yeah. And then he has done obviously like Orlando, but kind of a different side of Orlando than you've seen. He has done Texas City in Texas, which is down like sort of Gulf Coast area of Texas. Then he did Brighton Beach, Brooklyn for Honora. I'm going to tell you, dude, there's some great cities in Georgia you should check out. Some weird cities that you would love. I'm talking
Don't
Helen,
pitch your
Georgia,
town for a Sean Baker
Athens.
movie.
I mean, Savannah has already been on movies too a little bit. It's a little overexposed. So I don't think that's your kind of vibe. Macon. There's some great cities in Georgia. Check them out. Do an Okefenokee Swamp thing.
How about Philly? Do a Mayor of Easttown. Sean, do it.
Yeah,
Sean,
pitch
season
your
2 Mayor of
state. There you go.
Season 2 of Mayor for fun. I don't know.
You want Sean to do a remake of Mayor of Easttown?
No, season 2. It's like
it sounds great.
I don't know.
Sounds really good.
I don't know.
Sounds really good. I miss that Kate Winslet accent. I miss her.
It'll be.
I miss that like Delco accent.
There will be a season 2 of Mayor of Easttown.
There will absolutely never be a season 2 of Mayor of Easttown.
I think there is.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. Yes, 150%.
All right, that's the TV show that gets me back into TV.
All right.
But we're here to talk movies, baby. So let's
Thank
talk
God.
about the big loser of Oscars night. The big loser. The big loser for me was the streamers. That's right.
Bang.
I'm talking Netflix,
Bang.
Hulu, Amazon, Apple. You might be too big to fail, but God damn, does everyone hate you and hope for your demise. So first of all, Netflix did not win Best Picture again. This is famously Netflix's big thing. Their big thing. It's like they're like at Leonardo DiCaprio levels of thirsty for one of those awards, and they want Best Picture, but they lost again. Amelia Perez was their best hope this year, but despite getting 13 nominations, we know what happened with Amelia Perez and all the bad press around it, and it only took home 2 awards for Zoe Saldana and for the song Lamal. And then I heard the Hulu live stream was glitching last night. And look, we're no stranger to tech problems. I get it more than anybody. I also don't have fucking Hulu money.
We're not owned
Get
by
your shit
Disney.
together,
What the fuck
okay?
are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. This is the Disney NBC Universal streamer. You got all the money in the world. Get that live stream working next year. I heard it cut out right before Best Actress. That's crazy.
Exactly right.
That's crazy.
And it was
Hulu.
glitching all night.
And then on top of that, the big messaging all night from Sean Baker's speech about the importance of theatrical releases and watching movies in movie theaters, to Conan's skit about theaters and streaming, to just all the sort of classic movie nostalgia that the Oscars indulges in every year. This was a big night for movie theaters and a bad night for the streamers. And it extends to the voting process as well, because I read a lot of the anonymous ballots that came out where Oscar voters, Academy members, will tell you why they voted for this and that. They don't reveal who they are, but they give you their rationale for their votes. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in those ballots every year. And one of the big ones was, I saw a lot of people. Nobody was explicitly coming out and saying, I voted for this because it got a theatrical release, or I voted for this or I didn't vote for this because it was on streaming. No one's saying that. But what people are doing implicitly, subconsciously, is a lot of people were referencing the theatrical experience they had when they saw the movie they voted for Best Picture or for Best Actor. There was a lot of people citing like the crowd reaction around me, because look, we're all impressionable. When you're in a movie theater and everyone's loving it, that feeds into your reaction to the movie and your impression of the movie. And so I saw a lot of people referencing this, and I believe that what that means is that movies that get theatrical releases are more inclined to win the awards because the people voting for those awards, when they saw them in theaters, they had a more positive, memorable response than when they just sat at home and watched it, watched their screeners, or watched it on streaming. And so this matters. This is why Netflix hasn't won Best Picture yet, is because they do these dumb symbolic theatrical releases in New York and LA on 6 screens for one weekend just to get awards eligible, and then it goes to Netflix. That's why you're not winning the big prize, baby. That's why you're not winning the big prize.
Also, you submitted Amelia Perez. Just throwing that one out there, too.
True.
Brett, it wasn't all smiles last night. There was some snubs.
There were some snubs.
I know one that we wanted to
talk
get to
about.
at the
Yeah.
top
Yes.
of this was sort of a very exciting race all season. I know you've been watching it intensely. Demi Moore did
Yes.
not win Best Actress.
Did not win.
For The Substance. Now, she was trending in that direction pretty hard. I think a lot of the Sharps had their smart money on Demi taking the prize home.
You picked Mikey last night. I had Demi, you had Mikey.
I did. Tell me a little bit about why were you going with Demi, and why do you think she lost?
Well, you know what? That one was a complete coin toss by the end. That was like I could feel the Mikey momentum, and I probably should have gone with momentum over like the arc of the entire awards season, because Mikey really had the momentum coming in. But I just thought, to me, it felt to me like, you have a long career in Hollywood that can go one of two ways. That can mean you have a lot of enemies, or that can mean you have a lot of friends. To me, it seemed like Demi had more friends than enemies in Hollywood, that she has been a professional her entire career, that she has been good to the people that she's worked with. I felt
Apparently
like she was going to take
No,
it. I know.
okay.
Yeah. I felt like she was going to take it. I think, again, reading those anonymous ballots, I think a lot of the normies were grossed out by The Substance, and I think that had a big part. I literally saw people in their anonymous ballots going like anywhere from like yuck, couldn't get through the whole thing, to like this was a disgrace and I can't believe I had to watch it for the Oscars. A lot of that. There's a lot of people who just want to watch Inside Out 2 with their family who vote for the Oscars. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. And even with the kind of like graphic sexual content in Anora, I think the body horror in Substance was a bridge too far for some people, and I think that maybe soured their taste on Demi's performance. I also think, to hand it back over to you, what you said last night is just that, like, it could just be as simple as that Mikey was the best performance of the year, and everyone just sort of comes around to the fact of that at the end.
It's an iconic performance. It's like singular. She plays Anora in Anora. It's going to win 5 awards. It's going to win Best Picture. She's the beating heart of the movie, as much as it's Sean Baker's big movie when he won all the awards for it. Mikey is Anora. Simple as that. It's like Demi was great. She's in a horror movie, so it's kind of a little bit less. People don't treat it the same. And Margaret had tons of screen time, and sometimes it felt more of a Margaret movie, even though it was definitely Demi's, but still, the back and forth. And it was just, Mikey just owned it. And remember, they've been playing this perfectly in the press and on social ever since The Palm.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But Brett,
true.
I called that one, and that felt great. But it wasn't all about me last night, because a big winner came seemingly right from your heart onto the screen. I couldn't believe what I was seeing here.
I willed this into being, Joe. I
could not believe what I was seeing. In animated feature category, we had The Wild Robot, which was made by a beloved artisan of animation. And Inside Out 2, the highest grossing movie of the year from Pixar, no slouch. And yet, Brett, I want you to tell the good people at home, which one of these pictures took the prize home?
Joe, Best Animated Movie went to a little movie from Latvia called Flow, made on open source animating software Blender, by Gins Zilbalodis. This guy is so much fun and so cool, and this movie rocked. It's my favorite movie of 2024. I think it's the best movie of 2024. I have really, I staked my entire night on this, right? This was the one because it was such a David versus Goliath fight. It was this little movie from Latvia made on open source animating software that is so profound it makes me weep just to think about it and laugh. It's a great movie. It'll bring a lot of emotions out of you. Going up against Wild Robot from Universal DreamWorks, and Chris Sanders, who, to be fair, made Lilo and Stitch my favorite animated movie of all time. Chris Sanders is a legend, and a lot of people thought he was due, but it ain't going to be for the Wild Robot, baby, because that ain't your best work. And then we also had Inside Out 2, the highest-grossing American animated movie of all time from Pixar that a lot of people liked as well. So you know how it goes. I was like, well, the money will probably win, but man, I really hope Flo takes this. I hope Flo takes this. And you know what? Oscars made a lot of right choices last night. You can sort of quibble with the nominees. You can't really quibble with the picks too much. Like the winners are kind of the right winners across the board.
To underline that fact, I want to quick mention editing. On my ballot, I chose who was going to win editing. I chose Conclave because I was looking online and it said it had a 92% chance of winning or whatever.
Yes.
And every smart person from all the trades thought it was going to win. So I checked the box. Because what do I know? Okay, great. But during the show, I turned to Brett and I was like, I picked Conclave because everyone said it was going to win. But what's so crazy is I can't remember one distinctive element about the editing of Conclave at all. In fact, the only movie that's editing helped tell the story really impactfully was Anora, and I didn't think that was going to win. And then when it won, me and Brett looked at each other like, I guess good things win.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I
guess we're
best,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm less cynical now about the Oscars. A lot of correct choices were made. Folks.
It was one of the best Oscars in my memory that I can remember. A, for Conan's job hosting, which we'll talk about. B, for just the kind of overall pageantry and sort of segments of the show. But mostly because the voters got it right based on the nominees that they were looking at. And like you said about editing, I was looking at the editing nominees too, and I saw like what you said, Conclave in the lead, and I made a few picks just for who was in the lead and the odds, But for that one, I was like, the only movie on here where I can even think I can visualize the editing as an important part of the movie is Anora. So I was like, I'm just gonna vote for Anora, and then lo and behold, the voters made the right choice there. I loved seeing Sean get that editing award. That was really well deserved.
Me too.
Really well deserved. So Flo, a pleasant surprise. I am just so that is gonna fill me with hope. That bought me 5 more years of hope. My hope meter was running very low, and then Flo beating Inside Out 2 and Wild Robot, justifiably so. Sure, I am a fanboy, but you watch all 3 of those movies with a cinephile's eye, and you tell me what is the best movie of the 3. You're gonna tell me it was Flo. Don't even watch it with a cinephile's eye. Watch it with with your human eyes and tell me which of the 3 is the best. It's fucking Flo by a mile. And I thought you guys know I did not like Inside Out 2. I thought Wild Robot was good. I thought it was good. We weren't really doing our stars rating yet at that point. I would have given it 3 stars. I thought it was good. It was a good movie by a legendary animator. Flo is a masterpiece. Flo's 5 stars. That's a 2-star difference. I think there was the biggest disparity in that category out of any of the categories between the top and the next.
And look at you now. You're king shit for the day. Look how happy this
I am king
motherfucker
shit
is.
for the day.
Look how happy my guy is.
You are too, because you picked Anora.
Yeah, I am happy.
I picked Flo from the beginning, and we've been riding those movies hard, and then they won the awards, and we're freaking happy as pig and slop.
Happy as 2 pigs in a whole lot of
sloppiest slop you've ever seen.
Now what's next?
All right, let's talk about Conan.
Days,
let's talk about Conan, baby. So Conan was the host. We all rejoiced because we got a real host. We got somebody that's very funny and good at TV. But I guess the question was, which Conan are we going to see? Is Conan going to sort of glam it up? Is he kind of sort of button it up a little bit? Or are we going to get, old school Conan? What are we going to get? And the answer was, we got all the best parts of Conan. We got the competent television host who knows how to host an award show. We got old school Conan. I love seeing the Dune worm gag was maybe my favorite gag that he did, was bringing out the sandworm from Dune to play in the orchestra.
Also, very late night with Conan coded was the Amazon package bit.
Yes.
Where a guy walks in behind something not for real, and then the package gets stolen out.
I expected Brian Stack to be the delivery man. That's how old school of a Conan bit that was. You expected John Glazer to be inside the box or something.
Mm-hmm.
That really felt old school Conan. The song number about not overdoing it was so funny.
Yep.
And he's weirdly good at musical bits and numbers. He really gives it everything. I thought it was, again, one of the best hosting gigs in memory.
Yeah.
You know, definitely the best since like the classic era. I think the best hosting gig that I can remember. He was so funny and also just like tight and professional and on his game. I give him, if we're gonna use our star rating, I'd give him 4. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, you know, I don't think Jimmy Kimmel was like bad. I just think Jimmy Kimmel was like undistinctive and not as funny. And Conan's brand of humor, in my opinion, is just more distinctive and iconic and a little sillier and a little like funnier. And I loved it. It wasn't a Ricky Gervais slam fest. Like, not in the mood for that. I think Conan should just be the de facto host for like 10 years.
Please, come on.
Just like,
let's Billy Crystal this shit. Let's just give it to
I'm
Conan
sure there's
every year.
other people that could do it, but for the next like couple of years while the Oscars finds its footing, just like do Conan 2 to 3 more times. Like, totally pleasant, completely enjoyable. What more do you want? Like, I don't know. Too risky to try. Like, just give him next year for sure and think about it moving forward. De facto, 4 stars, great.
Now, speaking of the show itself, Joe, let's talk about winners and losers in the show. Like, you know, the bits and the presenters.
Like,
and the
when Andrew
pageantry.
Garfield came out with Goldie Hawn, we were both like, what the fuck? Like, he'd be like a loser, right, Brett? That'd be
I
like,
don't know.
What?
I want to go because one of my losers is people who have grown tired of age gap narratives in Hollywood, because you know, we talked about a couple weeks ago about how there's so many age gap movies from May December to Baby Girl to all those streaming ones, and if you've gotten tired of that as a narrative, I'm sorry, buckle up. We might just be the beginning of this, because it looked like Andrew Garfield and Goldie Hawn were auditioning for Baby Girl 2 with the way they had some. I don't even think Goldie was ready for how thirsty Andrew Garfield was. Holy shit. He's like caressing her hand. And of course he's doing it in his like woke gentleman way, but he was pouring on some thick vibes on Goldie Hawn. Some thick vibes.
Wow.
And it was all about how he was a big fan of her and all
Really
that, but
weird.
you know there was some real undertones
So
to
yeah,
that.
that was an example of like an L. I mean, you think it's a weird W, but I'm going with just a straightforward
I'm just saying,
L.
Andrew Garfield probably is a loser in the night because of how much Kurt Russell beat his ass at the after party for flirting with his wife. I mean, oh my God, Andrew Garfield, jeez. And after that whole like,
and Monica Barbara was just sitting there like
they're dating now,
like
right?
Yesterday's paper.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
there was some real something going on.
Yeah, we don't know.
there.
That was weird.
And also, I will say too, the Mikey beating Demi, we haven't talked about, is very interesting also in the way that it sort of mirrored the plot of The Substance.
Yes,
the movie
that's
that
what
Demi
happened.
lost for. And so yeah, I mean, I don't know. If there was definitely some like generational stuff going on, some age gap stuff going on. But who are some of the winners of the actual show? Who are the winners?
All right, people who cracked me up. Obviously, Adam Sandler doing a bit with Conan was awesome because Sandman's so funny. Conan loves him. I love him. I loved that part of the show. But the funniest guy, the guy that reminded us the true king of the Oscars, the guy that is secret weapon every time he appears
Every
at the
time.
Oscars
Every time.
is Ben Stiller.
Yes.
I mean, that's classic joke.
So describe what he did.
He's coming up, the platform, you know, upstage is getting raised up, and he's coming up, but it stops. So just the top of his head is popping out like the guy in Parasite, and then he goes, production design, to introduce the category. Hilarious imagery, so funny, just classic, tight, killed it, filled out with some physicality, got up there, said his award, perfect, just like he did with Avatar, just like he's done before. Ben Stiller, I see you, and I thank you.
I loved it so much. I still remember when he dressed up like a Na'vi, a Na'vi from Avatar one year. He's
always
brings
cracking
the
us up at the
and
Oscars.
You know
Thank
what Ben
you,
Stiller
Ben.
knows is that because that bit last night, if you saw it on paper, you might go, a little hacky. Ben Stiller understands the value of a visual gag. He knew the simple visual gag of him having only half of his face above the stage while he read this like tribute to production design would be so funny, and it was.
Not
definite
hacky.
winner.
Definite winner.
Yes.
Who you got as a loser?
Well, let me give you a loser.
Yeah, who do you got?
One of my losers last night, and it pains me to say this because I love these things. One of the big losers was hats. Hats was a big loser.
You do love hats.
Hats was a big loser last night.
Why?
Because for some reason, that crazy Frenchman, Jacques Audiard, wore a baseball cap to the Oscars that said the name of his movie on it, Amelia Perez. He wore a baseball cap that said Amelia Perez on it to the Oscars. And I don't think hats have had a worse night in a long time.
He looked
In a
awful.
long
The hat
time.
looked dumb.
He looked bad.
French. He did take it off when they won Best Song, didn't he? As like a
No, he did not.
No, he did
was
not.
up there.
No, he did not.
Well, look, correct me if I'm wrong. In my memory, he's wearing that hat on stage behind the writers of the Best Song, and just sort of like
he takes it off.
just sort of like slithering around back there with
That,
the hat
talk
on.
about another L. That Best Song moment when they sung some Amelia Perez. Woof. They should have had to give the Oscar back. You know how like France stole all, like, in their museums? It's all like at the Quai Branly. It's all of like Africa's artifacts or whatever. It's like
yeah.
France shouldn't get to have that Oscar. We're keeping that from you now. Sorry. Okay, so
Another winner.
another winner. Broadway.
Yes.
Broadway is back, fuckers. Sorry. Did you see the opening of the show? And were you there? Okay. First we have smoke, and we have the good production design, and there's Ariana Grande, and she's singing with her voice talentedly, and then Cynthia Erivo comes out, they sing, and then they sing Wicked together, and it fucking rules. Do you know why? Because a fucking song and a dance by talented people. There's nothing better than that, folks. I love Broadway. Bring it back. You see later in the show what happened? We had a musical medley for James Bond. It was fine, random, cool, bad, weird, whatever. It wasn't Broadway.
No.
So it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. I hate Best Song because all these great musicians that are recording artists usually get up and they perform their songs. They didn't do it last night, thank God, and it's always fine. But then when a Broadway person gets up to do the thing, it's like, oh my God, I get it, a song. Thank you.
Dude, Cynthia
love
was
it, love
so
it,
locked
love
in.
it, love
So
it, love
locked
it,
in.
love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Ariana.
You know what it
Love
reminded me? As good as the Oscars were last night, when we were watching that opening and they're doing Defying Gravity and she's crushing, in the back of my head I was like, yeah, the Oscars will never be the Tonys. The Tonys are always the best award show.
Brother.
Because it's just that all night.
When
It's just spectacle upon spectacle by the most talented people on earth.
When I was at acting school, I was at one point doing like film acting classes, and the guy in charge of the studio told us why film is the most important art form and why it's the synthesis of all the art forms, and it can bring out the best emotion of us in us. And in the back of my head, I was like, I don't think this guy's heard about music yet. I was like, wait till this fucker hears
you
music.
ever been to a
It's like
play?
music can give you
Yeah.
10 movies in 3.5 minutes. Like
Yeah.
you'll live lives, brother.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So like
We love movies, though.
No, I love movies.
We
but
love
like,
movies. But
I love
Broadway
movies,
had a
but
big night.
when you sing Defying Gravity well
Yes.
at the Oscars with
Yes.
production design behind
Yeah.
you or around you, that rules.
Here's the best.
Much better
here's
than
the best
a
of
movie.
both worlds. Bring back the big budget Hollywood musical, and then make it a big keystone of your award show and kind of your whole brand.
Yeah, that worked this year. And good
Yeah.
news is we get the Wicked
Yeah.
sequel next year. Even if it sucks, get them back to do
Have
Defying
you
Gravity.
met the kids lately? They fucking love their pop stars.
Yeah,
Bring
they do.
back the Hollywood musical.
Hey, that's a great
Put
idea.
pop stars in them,
Dude,
okay?
here's an idea. Camera, please. Guys and Dolls, Sky Masterson, Dua Lipa, the Tony Detroit, Sabrina Carpenter,
Here's an idea.
Nathan Detroit.
Book of Mormon with Post Malone and Benson Boone, baby. Put it into production. All right.
Free idea. Carousel with Steve-O and Lauryn Hill.
My last loser of the night, if we can. My last loser of the night, and it pains me to say this, but one of the big losers of the night was Wives. Wives did not have a good night at the Oscars.
You're kidding.
Because-
I love Wives.
Because
that sucks. What happened?
I love my wife, yeah. But Kieran Culkin dragging his him and his wife's private business into his speech about how many kids they're gonna have.
I've never
And
seen
then-
you click into Southern mode more when that was happening. You were so worried about that moment.
Well, I was like
You
that's
did not like it.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
she clearly they got a whole dynamic.
They
and
have a
she
whole
was
thing.
Fun. She was having fun
She's
with it.
married to Kieran
But I was
Culkin.
like, do not put this woman on the line for 4 kids on national TV right now. You just put this woman like on the hook for having 2 more kids of your kids. And look, I love Kieran Culkin. I've never liked the give me kids. You know when guys talk about my wife giving me kids?
Nah,
I
it's
hate
weird.
that fucking
It's weird.
language.
It's
I really
weird.
don't like it.
It's a little weird.
So I don't know, Kieran.
It's a lot weird.
Much like Adrian Brody, you should have cut that speech a little short because it got off the rails at the end.
Yeah,
okay.
if you want to have another kid with your wife, that's beautiful.
Speaking
you
of
should talk
Adrian
about
Brody,
it, off stage.
bloaty, because that speech was bloated.
Nice.
The the playing off music is a courtesy, okay?
Right.
Much like cinema, constraints are your friend. They are
Correct.
not your enemy,
Right.
okay? This is not The Brutalist. You don't get a fucking intermission for
Correct.
your Oscars speech. Wrap it up, because what you came back with after that whole dog and pony show about don't play me off with the music was not worth it, okay? Cut it off. The playoff music is your friend. You can have a little fun with it, but don't command them to turn off the music because you already won an Oscar. And yeah, this isn't my first rodeo. You're right. It's your second rodeo. Are you suddenly a fucking expert? Talk to me when you've won 4 or 5. Then you can do whatever you want, okay? But not until then. Also, we didn't really talk about Adrian Brody beating Chalamet.
You said it best last night. Chalamet, after this loss, like we know he's got that dog in him. Okay, we know he wants to be great.
He's hungry
He
now.
is going to like when Tom Brady wasn't drafted
This is his
appropriately,
Brady moment.
like when Jokic was drafted during a
Yeah.
Taco Bell ad in
Yes.
the second round. It's murdering time. Chalamet is going to come for you and all of you, and it's just going to be like a 60-year wasteland.
Chalamet is going to find out who did not vote for him,
Yes.
and he is going to read their names out on the stage when he wins an Oscar in the next 5 years.
Yes.
I also want to say
He's going to have a kill list like the little girl in Game of Thrones.
I don't think they're married, but I wanted to throw Adrian Brody's date in there. Do not make your date catch your fucking chewing gum, you animal, that
No.
you threw from the stage
Also,
to her.
but also don't chew gum at the Oscars. That is pissing me off. It's like wearing a hat in a restaurant.
Don't chew
Fuck
gum,
you.
period.
And then also don't
Who's
chew
chewing
gum.
gum in
Don't chew gum.
2025?
Period. Don't chew gum at the Oscars. Did you want a mint, Adrian? You can ask for that. And then don't fucking you know you're about to win Best Fucking Actor, right? Like it's either you or one of the other guys. So it's like you're about to get up. And then when you realize the gum was in your mouth, put it under your tongue. Don't throw it at your wife.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And then don't talk about how like humble you are in the midst of like that was the most humble braggy speech I think I've ever heard in my life.
He's an
such a
actor.
good actor though. He still made me feel emotional.
He's a wonderful actor, and he was terrific in The
He is an
Brutalist.
amazing actor with a bad brain is my summary of Adrian Brody. And I don't mean like, you know, like criminally bad or offensive even. I just mean he just seems like kind of
He's
a
actor.
like a self-absorbed, like, you know, I don't know, self-absorbed sort of like blah, who has the most incredibly finely tuned acting instrument that God ever created.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful, and he looks like all of my cousins.
Does he really?
Well, he just looks very Italian and very Jewish combined all the time.
He has such a unique look.
Not well, unless you know a lot of Italians and a lot of Jewish people, and then they all stand in a big room, all sort of smushed together. You might it's like a "Where's Adrian Brody" contest. You know, you wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup.
Final hot take on the Oscars. As much as I did not like The Brutalist, and as much as I am rooting for Timmy to be our new James Dean, Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever,
right?
The voters got it right. Adrian Brody gave a better performance than Timothée Chalamet, and they got it right on pretty much every award of the evening.
Dude.
They did the damn thing.
Yeah.
They did the damn thing.
The
Impressive.
Oscars are back, and I'm happy they're back because we need them. We need them now more than ever.
Now let's get onto the commercial side of things. Margot Carson, can you show me the money, please? And by money, I mean last weekend's box office returns, baby. There they are. There they are.
Down.
Now look.
Down.
Not a lot. Look, it's like Super Bowl weekend, whatever. The Oscars weekend is always pretty anemic in terms of box office returns. Nobody's putting big movies out into theaters, but holy hell, this is beyond anemic. This is put it on life support time at the box office. This is bad because we see Captain America continuing its massive drop after a big weekend. It's down to just it made $15 million last week. That's an additional 46% drop after its 68% drop last weekend. And then we see the one big new movie of the year of the weekend, Last Breath, which we're going to talk about later, only doing 7,800 on 3,000 screens. That's a pretty wide release. 7,800 is not great. The movie didn't cost a lot of money, so you can't really call it a bomb, but also definitely not a hit. And then everything else from the last couple weeks just dropping. Incredible. I cannot wait to talk about it later in the show. Incredible to see One of Them Days in the top 10. That movie came out in mid-January during the fires and has maintained a place in the top 10 box office ever since. That's a real success story. We'll talk about it later. But a pretty slow weekend at the box office, even by Oscar weekend standards. And my one takeaway from this, Joe, is This is what happens, much like we saw with Joker 2 last year, almost single-handedly fucking up the entire year's box office because it didn't open big in October when it was supposed to, and then they didn't have anything. Everyone else had like avoided the subsequent weeks because they thought Joker 2 was going to be huge. So then when Joker 2 isn't big, then you have a whole month that's slow because Joker 2 didn't kick off the month strong. That's what we're seeing here with Captain America Brave New World. When a tentpole doesn't tentpole, when a big release that they've cleared space in the calendar for doesn't open big, it fucks up the subsequent weeks. It fucks up months even. Because look at the trouble that Hollywood is in now, Joe. I'm gonna tell you what's coming out, and you tell me when Hollywood can start to breathe a sigh of relief. Okay? Here's what we've got coming out the next couple weeks. Mickey 17. No. Right?
No.
It's projected. It was made for $118 million. It's projected to do a 15 to 20 opening weekend. That's going to be rough stuff. Okay.
That's right.
Soderbergh's Black Bag, his second movie of the year. Cannot wait to see it.
No,
Not going to make any money.
No.
The Electric State, the Russo's brothers movie that cost $320 million, is coming out on Netflix.
That's obviously not
so
going to help.
That's no one's going to talk about that because it's on fucking Netflix. All right, Snow White on March 21st is the next potential tentpole. These live-action Disney movies usually don't do big numbers, but unfortunately we know Snow White is not trending very well. It's tracking right now at a $53 million opening weekend, and that's on a $200 million plus budget. Okay,
No.
There is still time though. We saw Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot at the Oscars last night trying to do some
chummy
sort
as
of
hell, friendly,
frigid, ice cold dynamic between those two. They do not like each other. And you know what? There's your fucking marketing. Okay? Oh, Snow White and the Wicked Witch don't like,
they don't
each,
like
other?
each other.
That's a fucking gift. That's a fucking gift, Disney. That is your last hope. Okay?
That's all they have.
I want to
play it up.
I want fucking celebrity boxing match between Gal Gadot. Actually, she'd murder
win.
Zegler. Yeah,
She'd
yeah,
win. She'd Krav Maga her back to the fucking 12th grade.
All right, but seriously, Disney, there is that is like the best gift wrap present you got is that these two clearly do not like each other. You've got your army of publicists. Get freaking Blake Lively and Baldoni's publicists on this. Get it nasty, get it dirty. It's your only hope of making any money on this thing.
No, that's not going to save the box office. What else do you have coming up?
Minecraft movie.
No.
Sinners. The Accountant 2.
No.
Thunderbolts on May 2nd, I think, that's
No.
a Marvel movie, but I think it's going to perform
Flop.
low as well.
That'll be
yeah.
like a Furiosa level flop, and everyone will freak the fuck out that it's never going to happen again at the box office. Oh, it's May 2nd and Thunderbolts flopped, and then guess what's going to happen? Something's going to come out in June and make $1 trillion.
Here's the thing, Joe. May 23rd is the first sure thing because we have the last Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise.
Wait, you know what's crazy? Is that a sure thing?
Well, and the Lilo and Stitch live action movie is coming out on May 23rd. And that thing has a massive fucking fan base. That's like Moana size fan base. I think they'll come out for Lilo and Stitch. But my question is, why the fuck are those opening on the same weekend? You have nothing going on in May. Spread those releases out, Hollywood. Coordinate. Look at each other's schedules. What are you doing? So not until my point here is that because Captain America did not have staying power, it opened big but did not have staying power. Because Snow White is again a tentpole that is not going to open like a tentpole. We are looking at May. We're looking at a fucking desert until May 23rd. Desert. May 23rd.
And we're talking about big box office smashes that make a lot of profit and have awesome opening weekends.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we're not saying, oh, none of these will see profit. We're just saying none of these are going to change Hollywood or save the studio.
That's what I mean. Right now, I'm not talking about lean, mean indies that find a way to double their return. I'm talking about the big tent poles that get people out to the movies, and then that trickles down to other movies. You need those big tent poles to get people out. And when a tent pole doesn't tent pole, it's bad for theatrical releases in general and bad for the box office. We do have, the summer is going to be very big though, because you've got Superman, the new Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World movie. So there's big stuff coming in the summer, but man, between now and May 23rd, it is going to be tough sledding.
I wonder if studios are like with the Dune 2 thing, like the money was good, it got no Oscar love. I wonder if they're just even more and more with theatrical falling, just like everything's just going to be from October to January for the I know that's the way it kind of always is, but you're right that there's just nothing. I mean, maybe look, next year Warner Brothers won't be putting out Sinners and Mickey 17. They're going to be like, fuck
and the
that.
PTA movie
We're putting out things you've heard of, things you heard of, things you heard of Batman, right? You
Yeah,
know, so it's
they'll
like
be doing
next
a
year they'll
big
like shake it up at
DC
the top of the year
next
or whatever.
yeah,
but
depending on how
right
Superman
now,
does.
not great, not great looking
Rough
box
stuff.
office.
Rough stuff. I mean, look,
Well,
last year.
Neja too.
Neja too, yeah. Well, the Chinese box office is doing better than any box office has ever done. But I mean, look, last year, Furiosa didn't open big, and that caused like a slow spring into summer. So it happens. But this year is like they haven't learned their lessons. I don't know. All right, let's talk the new movies for this week. We're going to review this week's new releases, Last Breath, and then a movie we're catching up with one of them days from January. And while we do try to avoid any major plot spoilers in our reviews, it's impossible to give an honest review of these stinking movies without talking about them in their entirety. So if you do not want these movies spoiled in the least, you should put us on mute and then reconnect with us further on down the road when we're talking about the next thing you want to hear about. You can take a look at the video screen to see what we're doing. You can check the show notes if you're listening on a podcast and see the time codes. Blah, blah, blah. On with the reviews. Let's talk about Last Breath, baby. This was directed by Alex Parkinson and written by Parkinson with Mitchell LaFortune and David Brooks. It is not only based on a true story, it is a remake of the 2019 documentary that Parkinson himself co-directed with Richard DaCosta about deep-sea divers who fix oil and gas pipelines 300 feet under the North Sea. And it's one of the most dangerous jobs on Earth. And then this thing happened where there was an accident and one of the deep-sea divers essentially got stranded at the bottom of the North Sea with a depleting source of
7
oxygen.
minutes of breath
Yes.
left, and there's a raging tempest
Yes.
up at the top level.
So in a very intense true story that is now being adapted into a feature film by the guy who made the documentary. It stars Finn Cole from Peaky Blinders as the guy that gets stranded at the bottom of the sea. We got Woody Harrelson in here and Simu Liu as his fellow divers, and then a really great cast of character actors back up in the ship, including New Zealand great Cliff Curtis and others. This film was distributed by Focus Features in the U.S. Joe, what'd you think of Last Breath?
I liked Last Breath. I found the story of Last Breath to be riveting. I know why they thought this would be a great doc, and I know why they thought this would be a great feature, because the story is so good. But they instead of terror of this most horrifying situation, they leaned on inspiring for the sort of overall tone or gestalt of this movie. And it's not like that's bad. It just lacked a smidge of depth. It was an exciting story, well told. The story's fucking crazy. These guys are nuts. I told people the story of this movie like 4 times over the weekend because it's a great story to tell at the bar. But as far as movie making goes, this was just a kind of a straightforward, well-told movie that if you like these kinds of disaster movies or people have to overcome these great physical obstacles in nature, then you will love this story and this movie. It's totally good. But the movie is ultimately just, a story well told, just kind of shallow, not a whole lot going on there. It has nice moments. It didn't take my breath away by any chance of the imagination.
It didn't take your last breath away. How many stars you give this thing?
It's like me on a good day, it's a 3 because it was good. But I know in my heart, it wasn't that good. It was all right. It was 2.5.
2.5. 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars.
Joe, I agree with your assessment, but I had a different take on that assessment, which is it definitely is. You can tell it's made by a documentarian because it is leaving a lot of cinematic tricks on the table. If this was Michael Bay, they would have milked every fucking close up, every bubble of that last breath you would see. They would.
I don't know if that'd be better, but it would be different.
And of course, if it was a good filmmaker, they would find ways to really amp up the cinematic techniques. I liked overall that this movie was kind of light on cinematic techniques, but heavy on a sort of tight, efficient, character-driven survival narrative that was felt very real. The whole thing feels very real, very plausible. I actually like this movie a lot. I really, it's been, I think particularly coming off of a lot of overhyped, fraudulent movies, in my opinion, things like The Monkey or Companion or Wolfman, or Hard Eyes, movies that had a lot more hype and a lot more sort of overt jabs at style and cinematic storytelling, but ultimately were disappointing. it was wonderful and lovely to sit there and watch a 93-minute fucking movie that does not waste a single one of those minutes. It creates characters like really fast. It just like, this guy's got a wife and they love each other and it would suck if he died. Got it. Okay, good. I know what this guy's living for. Woody Harrelson is like an old sea dog who the company is trying to sort of move away from, being a deep sea diver because he's too old. Okay, got it. And he's still got a love for the ocean though, baby. All right, got that guy. And then everyone up top in the boat, they are just the most professional fuckers you've ever met in your life. They are on it, but accidents happen because Mother Nature. So it's like, I get everything, just like the clarity of the storytelling was so refreshing to me. I thought the movie was very well executed. I did think it struggled to find the sort of cinema of the story. This is a feature film, not a documentary. And so I do think, even though I liked it overall, I agree with Joe. There was a little, they could have heightened the tension in certain ways. They could have found ways to make the sort of the dread and the ominousness of being at the bottom of the ocean
I don't want to sound like I need there to be some like crazy pretentious shots. This isn't about like, I didn't really connect to the cinematic language of the European masters. That's not what I care about. What concerned me was just sort of like the thinness of the characterization. I love a good archetype, but an archetype has to be like sold with some packaging. I can't just be like force fed it. And this was like a very mediocre screenplay, and additionally, like the score suggests like a lack of vision.
Score was rough. The score was like the one cinematic touch, and it was off. It was too sort of
and
sentimental.
It's for these reasons, the sentimentality at the beginning and at the end, and of the thin characterizations, and the score sort of just reveals that the movie is just, it's a really good story, well told. It's that's it. Which
sounds
is nice.
good to me. That sounds good to me. I actually really liked Last Breath. I think too, because I really like watching people at work in movies, and this was a very much like people at work movie.
And they were amazing people.
We see a lot of the logistics of being a deep sea diver, and the crew on the ship, and all this like incredibly advanced sort of technology they had, but it's still not enough to counteract a big sea storm. So this was a great like people at work movie with enough of a story to carry me through, and I just love the efficiency and the unpretentiousness of the movie, particularly compared to a lot of the overhyped sort of garbage that's been thrown at us recently. So I'm actually going to give this 3.5 stars. I thought this was really good. I really liked this movie, and maybe some of that is just that I'm starved for this type of movie. But I'm being
a snobby little baby, but I also believe what I said.
Yeah, we need. And also, it's good to have tension. It's good not to have the same ratings. 2.5, 3.5. I say see Last Breath and see it in theaters, baby. Make Sean Baker.
Yeah.
Do you want to piss off Sean Baker right now? You want to make Sean Baker upset? Then go see Last Breath in theaters. Honestly, well, tell me this: what else currently in theaters would you recommend people see before Last Breath? Currently in theaters.
I don't know what's playing.
All the crap that was on the box office list, right? My point is, it's your best bet for seeing a movie in theaters.
Well,
right now. So if you want to go out to theaters this week, see Last Breath. What do you think?
You know what my buddy told me?
Yeah, what?
Do your next review.
Also still in theaters. Yeah. Okay, you're right. You have two good choices because I finally saw One of Them Days. This is a comedy buddy movie directed by Lawrence Lamont, written by Sarita Singleton. Stars Keke Palmer and SZA in the lead roles. Plus, again, incredible supporting cast. Oh my God, the supporting characters in this movie are great and fun. This movie is about two friends who have to scramble to find rent money after one of their boyfriends blows through it. It takes place over the course of one day in the Baldwin Village and Leimert Park neighborhoods of Los Angeles, and it's produced by TriStar Pictures and Hooray Media and was distributed by Sony, quickly becoming one of my favorite of the major studios, Sony. I love their just under-the-radar strategy, and I'm so glad they gave this movie a wide release and are keeping it in theaters. Thank you, Sony, for keeping a movie in theaters and letting it grow, because guess what happens? Everyone's so scared. Oh, we gotta make space for Captain America. No, you don't. That shit's about to bomb. Keep your movie in theaters for long runs and build the word of mouth, because One of Them Days has been in the top 10 at the box office since fucking January. I love it, and it's made over double its production budget already just on box office alone. That's well into profit.
I love that.
So props to Sony and props to that whole team. So the only reason it took us so long to see One of Them Days, which is a movie a lot of people have been talking about, great word of mouth, great reviews,
yeah.
is because it came out like in mid-January, right around the fires. So we weren't back from our break yet, and then we had to extend the break because of the fires. We never got around to seeing One of Them Days. Finally saw it, and I am so happy I did because holy shit, this is, drum roll please, and I know it's early, my favorite movie of 2025 so far. One of Them Days.
Wow.
The big headline that I've been reading about One of Them Days is they don't make comedies like this anymore. And that is 100% true. But it's not just that they don't make comedies like this anymore. They don't make comedies like this that are this funny anymore. Holy shit, is this movie fucking hilarious. I would have liked it regardless of when it came out, but coming out now at a time when we don't get comedies anymore, much less funny comedies in theaters, this was like a jug of water in the desert, baby. This movie was so funny. I laughed out loud throughout constantly, and I was going back and I was like, when was like the last time I laughed this? And like seriously, when was the last time I laughed this hard at a movie? And the two that came to mind were Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, which I think is 2021, and then Dix the Musical, and more specifically the Sewer Boy scenes in Dix the Musical. So the Sewer Boy scenes in Dix the Musical and Barb and Star, what I'm saying is, Joe, One of Them Days is top 3 funniest movies of the 21st century, okay?
What?
And honestly, like, here's the thing. Before,
My
I'm not
God.
just, I love, I love a hot take, I love
I
to
love
stir the
that.
pot.
Yeah.
I went back and looked. I was like, comedies from
Yeah,
2020.
what did we forget?
Comedies from 2021. Guess what we forgot? Fucking nothing, because they literally don't make movies like this anymore. You go back and find me a funnier, I'm saying Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, Dix the Musical,
Yes.
One of Them Days, not in
Agreed.
that particular order, 3 funniest comedies of the 21st century. Tell me what I'm missing. And I'm sure I'm missing something, but guess what? I'm not missing a lot. I'm not missing like 10 movies. I might be missing 2 movies. But those 3, including One of Them Days, 3 funniest movies of the 21st century. And I really love the type of comedy that One of Them Days is doing, because it's doing a lot of big, broad jokes and a lot of like gags, but it's doing them with like total precision and originality. This movie is so good on the comedic dials, knowing when to like dial a joke up, when to dial a joke down. Keke Palmer and SZA are so good. SZA is incredible. Holy
I didn't
shit,
know.
SZA. I did not know you had these chops as an
I didn't
actor.
know.
I knew you
I
had them
didn't
as a
know that.
musician. SZA is great because SZA is like the wild one. Keke Palmer's the straight I mean, she still gets to be sort of goofy and wacky, but she is playing more so the straight role,
Cool.
and then SZA gets to be the sort of
The
wild,
fun.
messy one.
This sounds good.
I loved it. It's like an old SNL movie too, with how many incredible side characters there are. Like, this is why it's such a throwback comedy to me, because they remembered that old trick that every movie from our childhood did, where it's like every scene needs like one weird scene stealer, right?
Right.
One of Them Days does it. I was like,
Right,
when does a movie do this anymore?
Mm.
Barb and Star, that was fucking
Yeah.
2021. Every scene in One of Them Days, they throw in like a really funny scene stealer. And it's still Keke Palmer and SZA's show, but man, does this movie understand the value of supporting characters. I want to give you one example of a funny joke. I'm not going to like describe jokes from One of Them Days, but I want you to get like a
Give me a
little
taste.
sense, okay?
It's a little taste.
So SZA's fuckboy is like the guy who like ruins everything. He like takes their rent money and invests it in his t-shirt company, and that's why they have to like go on this adventure to find rent money.
Okay.
The actor who plays the fuckboy is so funny. He is so funny. And the joke is, again, like a simple broad gag. The joke is he's a loser, but he has a big dick. That's like the on paper gag, right? But why it's so funny in the movie is they dial it up big in both directions. So they make him such a loser. He is such a pathetic asshole.
okay.
And then, Joe,
Right.
they make his dick so big, it is hilarious. It's like Matt Bester in that UCB, like that old sketch where he has like the kid with the horse dick. He's like, it is so funny. Like the visual gag, it was the first like big laugh in the movie for me, but the visual gag of like, you basically see the outline of his penis through his sweatpants, and it is so hilariously big. It's like, it's surreal. It's not like a real
That's
penis.
so
It is
funny,
like,
man. All right, I get it.
it is so funny. And then he's such an asshole, and SZA is so torn over this dilemma of like, can I, like, is the guy's dick big enough for how much of an asshole he is, and can I like it's just it's such a funny movie. It is such a funny movie. I could sit here all day and describe gags from it to you, but I'm not going to, because you should go see it yourself. One of Them Days, in theaters and on streaming. Do it on both. Watch it in theaters and then go back and relive it on streaming, because guess what? Much like me, you're gonna watch this twice, okay, at the minimum.
Whoa, Brett,
One
I'm
of Them
fucking
Days.
hyped.
4 stars. My
Damn.
first 4-star movie of the year.
Damn.
4 stars means it's great on our scale, and this movie is.
Damn.
See it, baby. Now, next week we're going to be talking about another movie that I hope is really good, which is Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's new movie with Robert Pattinson. We're going back to sort of like Okja Snowpiercer Bong Joon-ho here, like English language movie that's like a dark comedy with a like recognizable American movie star in it. And I like Snowpiercer and Okja, so hopefully we'll like Mickey 17 as well. And this is all part of Warner Brothers' big auteur strategy this year, as Joe pointed out. They're giving a lot of money to the auteurs, Bong Joon-ho, Ryan Coogler, PTA this year, and it's gonna be financially disastrous for them, but it's gonna be great for movie lovers, baby.
I can't wait.
Thank you, Warner Brothers.
Now, Brett, we've been rewatching all the
Yes.
Bongs.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
almost done my rewatch. Guy hasn't made a bad movie.
He has not.
Guy hasn't made a bad
He's
movie.
not
Now, he might not be your favorite director, but I struggle to know which title of his is like bad. You know?
He has no bad movies, and I would say Memories of Murder, Mother, The Host is up there for best 3-picture run of anybody in history. That is an incredible run. And on that note, in the second half of next week's show, we're going to be ranking Bong Joon-ho's. We haven't done a good director rankings yet this year, and this is the perfect one to kick it off with. So we're going to do worst, in quotation marks, worst to best Bong Joon-ho movies in the second half of next week's show, only for Patreon subscribers. In the first half, we're also going to be talking about a movie I'm very excited for.
I'm not. It wouldn't be true to say I'm more excited for this movie than Mickey 17.
Not more,
but
differently.
How about I'm equally excited.
Equally excited.
I'm equally excited.
Because here's what we got because you're like, what the fuck is this in the Lost Lands? All right, let me tell you what we got going on here. Okay, first of all, just look at Dave Bautista's stance holding those guns.
This movie's called through the podcast heads. It's called In the Lost Lands.
In the Lost Lands. All right, here's the roster. Here's the roster. It's got Dave Bautista and Mila Jovovich, and then as soon as I saw Mila Jovovich, I was like, is this directed by Paul W.S. Anderson? You better believe this is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the director of Resident Evil, the original Mortal Kombat adaptation, Event Horizon. This guy has, honestly,
we love the guy.
Honestly, one of our great genre directors of the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
Did you hear what I just listed? The movies I just listed?
Love him.
Like, he'd be a B-movie king in the 50s. This guy's the best.
Yeah, he's the best.
And married to Mila Jovovich, which is why I thought of that connection, and he directs all her movies at this point. So we're talking about In the Lost Lands and Mickey 17 next week. I can't wait. And then we're doing Bong Joon-ho rankings in the second half. And speaking of the second half, in the second half of today's show, we are about to do one of our favorite things we do on Movies, Baby, the fantasy draft. We are doing our 2025 fantasy draft where Joe and I will pick teams of 5 movies plus an alternate. And the goal is, these are the movies that Joe and I will like the most this year, okay? We rate all the movies, and the team that gets the most stars at the end of the year will win. Joe won last year because I unfortunately picked Bike Riders and Wolfman, which was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And Joe had some really nice picks. Really nice picks. What were your big
Well,
winners?
we both like ended up loving Megalopolis, which
Yeah,
was like a curveball,
yes,
you know?
Yes.
And that like I think in you giving it the full 5.
I gave it 5, yeah.
Rightly so, by the way. History will smile
thank you.
happily on
Thank you. Fuck you,
Razzies.
Where's my camera? Fuck you, Razzies. Coppola ate you for fucking lunch, you amateurs.
But I'm not gonna lose again. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna make this.
I'm
gonna make this a thing that I win every year.
I think this is my year.
I'm gonna make this a thing that I win.
I think Joe and I are ultimately equally good at this, and so just going by coin toss statistics.
No, you're the perfect
will
enemy
win this year.
You're the perfect enemy because you know what makes me give things 4 or 5 stars. You know, you know what levers to pull.
I know.
But let's get into it.
This is not best movies. This is the movies Joe and I will like the most.
What are we
so
gonna
you might
give
see
4
some
to 5
Jason
stars?
Statham on here.
Yeah.
Who knows what you're gonna see? But you'll only see it on the Patreon. Please sign up for the Patreon. Patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. We do our best to give you some real substantial, nice bonus content over there, including this and other things. So please check that out. Sign up. You can do a 7-day free trial. You're not gonna want to miss this fancy movie draft. It's gonna be a fucking bloodbath. We'll see you there in just about 10 minutes. Bye.